division, we have 2 offering systems. As you know, the General Conference has approved 3 different formats. The planned giving is the preferred one, or the one basket or combined offering plan, those 3 names. A calendar system, and of course the system that the North American division uses. So our Australian Union and New Zealand Union actually go via the calendar plan. Every stewardship advisory we have in those 2 unions, I raise the benefits of moving to the combined offering plan because it is complex to administer. And so this is what it kind of looks like. This is the Australian Union Conference put a template together with beautiful information, and then every conference has tailored it because whilst the General Conference offerings are the same for everyone, and there's a nice summary list here, and the division offerings are the same for everyone, and the union offerings are the same for everyone, different conferences have different offerings and different numbers. So for instance, North New South Wales has only 4 conference offerings a year, whereas some of our smaller conferences like South Australia have 12. In my home conference, 60% of the offerings on a Sabbath are for the local church, and 40% are made up of non-local offerings, which are either for the GC, for the division, or for the conference. And so that percentage is either 50-50 or 60-40. In my home conference, it's 60-40. So that's what our calendar looks like. Now, it's quite challenging for me because everybody's knocking on my door constantly asking me to promote their offering, you know, when their turn comes around, whether that be Avondale College or Education or Pacific Adventist University or Adventist World Radio. What we do now is we've gotten into a little bit more of a pattern, and I contact all of the offering coordinators long ahead of time. I get scripts and key messages so that we can feed into the kinds of information about each of the days. And we try and encourage them to make videos and bring Facebook stuff that I can put up on eGiving. And I think we're now doing it in a balanced and fair way for everyone. But when I first came into the role and realised that everybody was going to be trying to pressure me to use my marketing skills, that's when I dove into scripture, because I really felt I wasn't sure whether I should be doing this. And I guess when I've landed and gone through 1st and 2nd Corinthians, where I've landed is we shouldn't be making the promotion side huge in church. So the messages I give to stewardship is to say, let's spend the time in church edifying the congregation, telling them the impact and the testimonies, because again, when you share rather than focusing on the asking and the promotion, as Paul said, when I come, I don't want any collection to be made. You kind of get the sense it's a little bit low profile. And I realised that down through the denominational history, we probably protected that low profile aspect of offering that our pioneers had established when they really took on that principle. I've read back in all the historical documents, and those pioneers looked at that verse in 2 Corinthians and they found 5 principles, and they focused on those 5 principles and of participation, of regularity, of priority, and promotion one, but it wasn't promotion in terms of being loud. It was they were encouraging such systematic behaviour that it didn't have to be a big deal. So to a marketer, I said, this is not the time for marketing. Keep focusing on teaching faithfulness. Keep focusing on painting to church members what faithfulness looks like. And then you can say, and by the way, today it's for Pacific Adventist University, but then tell stories about the impact of previous offerings, or let church members tell testimonies so that it's edifying to the church. So this is what our calendar system looks like for Australia and New Zealand. And in the Trans-Pacific Union and PNG, we have the one basket system because, of course, you could imagine the challenges of communication and getting resource tools to run a calendar system out there is really challenging. It was Bruce Roberts, who was the stewardship director in the SPD, that changed it for the Pacific because he realised in the old offering systems, and this is back in 1995, in the old offering system, 70% of the money for offerings was leaving the country in the Pacific, and it was a really them using the one basket system or the combined offering plan actually transformed the mission budgets of our mission fields and the union. It has actually put them onto a healthier place. So it really has worked for the developers of the system in those countries that really needed that. So that's just a little intro into the calendar system. Now, when it comes to our e-giving system, that's actually very complex to manage, because now we've got, so we have 12 conferences registered to use e-giving, both the app and the website. And so now we have 12 different calendars effectively to manage. And so some of the cosmetic changes that I wanted to make when I joined the role haven't been made yet, but we've been doing a lot of programming behind the scenes. So because this is how it looks at the moment. We don't have a proper sort of homepage look. In the future, we want to have a homepage that gives you 3 simple options. A nice clean page, and it simply says return tithe, or return tithes and give offerings, or just giving options. And what we'd like it is when people choose on return tithe, the process is clean, as fewer clicks as possible, and they simply nominate it their local church, and it's tithe, and it's done in fewer clicks as possible. When they say tithe and offering, we're going to set it up so that it defaults to the auto, based on their local church and which conference that maps to, it defaults to that offering of the day. So we basically had to code 12 calendars in behind the system. And then when they choose giving options, then they have all of the choices come up. So I've just chosen my home church. So the first thing I have to do is nominate my church. Then it takes me to another page. Tithe is always at the top. I can put in my tithe amount, and the offering of the day is what we're trying to do, is make sure the offering of the day comes second. It happens to be the local church this coming Sabbath, so it's there. So I can do, it's like a shopping cart where I can scroll down and put money into a number of different things. And when I've finished doing that, I just click on donate. And it comes up, just simply shows, here's a summary of your donation, my tithe and my local offering. And then I can click confirm to go to the next step. Then I choose my payment method, direct debit, BPay or credit card. Complete the details, and as soon as I hit confirm payment, within 60 seconds a receipt in PDF will come back to me. And you know the mock-up that I showed you the other day, on our list of development tasks, this is the kind of receipt for tithe that we want our church members to receive. That's just taking a moment to come up. Sorry, my computer has been thinking a lot too this week. Some big files. It might take quite some time. It's been very slow. Now, as I described before, once you click donate and you've put in your payment options, that funding goes into one central bank account at the South Pacific Division. We have, I guess, for the last 100 years, we've been working with the one bank in Australia, Westpac, and something that they did very wise was that every church and every entity within the Adventist Church in the South Pacific Division has a Westpac account, and they're all affiliated and linked back to a master account. And so that makes the exchange through Westpac very quick back to the local church, which is why the local church is able to. And so I guess we just were blessed to have the wisdom of our app was nicely able to sit on top of a non-technology infrastructure platform that had been developed for many, many years, which made this app very simple. I actually had a lot of trouble this week.
What is e-giving? E-giving is an app for making quick, easy and secure donations to any participating SDA church in Australia or New Zealand. Within the app, you can open up your local church and donate to numerous offerings using your credit or debit card, all in a smart and simple user interface. E-giving, quick, easy and secure. Find us on the App Store.
So it's fairly simple. We've got a lot of work to do. It's not as beautiful as the NAD one. That's got a beautiful smart system. Our system's a bit older, and we're finding the code now already very old to work with and quite challenging. So the other interesting insight is that the SPD only spent $40,000 initially. The previous administration didn't have an appreciation for technology, and it was hard to get money for technology. And so when I came along, I did a massive proposal to try and convince them to spend more money, because to date they'd only spent $40,000 on a platform that was really critical. So we did get an extra $200,000, but it's been the first bit of money that they've had for a long time. And then our servers crashed, and so we're still trying to teach our leaders that when you invest in technology, it's not a project. It's just like the whole offering scenario. You need a system, and you need an engine room. They're learning, they're adjusting. They know it's been really beneficial, but you know how budgets are set in divisions? They just replicate what was happening last year, and it's very hard to get them to restructure and reformat and think of things as engine rooms and platforms. Everything's just thought of as a project. Surely we can pay that, and then that lasts forever. So this is, I don't know whether it's going to come up, but this is the mock-up receipt that we want to send back to people, so that it uses the Use of Tithe guidelines to inform people and educate people, so that straight away within 30 to 60 seconds of them giving tithe, they're immediately thanked for partnering with the gospel. And through the Use of Tithe guidelines, and again, we can use an algorithm to actually reflect each conference. So if you're in North New Zealand conference, that figure on Frontline Ministry is actually 77% for them. If you're in South Queensland conference, that figure is 44%. So we would use, because it's a conference receipt with their letterhead, we would use the actual percentages from their Use of Tithe report, because they have to report on that every 3 months. This has been a wonderful initiative of the General Conference. This Use of Tithe guidelines is changing culture. It's only been instituted, I think, what are we up to, 2.5 years? And it is changing the conversation, and it is changing the culture. And conferences are starting to think about restructuring and reorganising their costs to meet these guidelines. So it's been a wonderful initiative. That's all from me, because I covered it the other day. Has anyone got any questions? We've talked to a few divisions, and we're very happy to share the technology. The challenge is always the non-technology banking system behind the scenes to make all of this work. That's generally been the barrier when we've discussed, because we're happy to hand over the code for free, although we think we should probably start again with new code.
Do you have the same problem we have with Apple? Giving on, with an iPhone in that part of the world?
No, we haven't, but we have to spend about 3 weeks of maintenance time per year just to stay in the Apple Store, in the App Store on Apple, which is forcing us to keep our app upgraded. But no, we haven't had problems. But again, okay. Yeah, they've made it work somehow. Yeah, these guys are so clever. Yeah. So yeah, if there's no more questions, we're happy to talk to other divisions and help in any way. But
it's not more of a question, but rather a comment. I remember when I worked in New Zealand, one of the beautiful advantage of that system as well, from financial point of view, the closing of the monthly report as well. It becomes an automatic thing for the conference and for the union, and ultimately the division. And that's another advantage of that system. Yeah.
So we've really reduced the church treasurer's time. We've reduced the admin work at conference and union level. It's been a real blessing, and it has improved the speed of reporting. There was one other comment. Just one other thing that I've got pulled up on my computer is we're really passionate about our challenges in Papua New Guinea. And I didn't mention the other day, but we're working with Digicel, and we've gotten a quote back from Digicel, which is the biggest phone provider in Papua New Guinea, to build a USS D code, which means that they can give tithe and offerings from their flex card. So they can basically have produce from their gardens, take it to the market, sell it, buy a phone card or some phone credit, and that is basically their virtual bank account, and then give that in church on Sabbath through their phone. In a country where people don't have bank accounts, but everybody has a phone, and every village, every corner store sells Digicel phone credit, flex cards they call them. And yeah, partnering with these phone companies. So in Papua New Guinea, Digicel, you pay your power, you pay for your electricity, you actually prepay it ahead and put it into a code into your electricity meter box in your home. You pay for your power, your water, and you buy your airline tickets all with Digicel phone credit. Because again, you've got a country that doesn't have bank accounts. One bank only has 14 branches throughout the whole country. So yeah, we're really excited about that opportunity. So I just wanted to share, it's very easy to partner with these phone companies and work on this technology now. And they said once we get into it, it's a 3-month process and we're finished. And then some of the banks will actually help with our education of our mission staff and union staff to implement it as well, which is really good. All right, that's all from me. Thank you.